Hello, and welcome back to the Gaming Podcast Live. I'm your host, Miabyte, and we're here every 2 weeks to talk gaming stories, news, gossip, all the stuff with your favorite content creators. Now, every podcast, sorry, I'm just making the world shake around me. Every podcast, I'm joined by an awesome guest host, and today, I'm joined once again by the one and only Robin Gray. Hello.
Hello. How are we doing?
I'm exhausted. How are you? It's been a long hot day. It's been a long,
Yes.
long hot day.
Yeah, it was warm. It was like 28, 29 degrees in our money, and that's 82, 84, 85 in US stuff.
Yeah, I've been told it's going to be hotter tomorrow, and
Yeah.
I'm dreading it because I don't know. There's something about British heat that I've heard a lot of people talking about it. Like there's a lot of people from abroad that come here, and they're like, "Oh, we live in hotter places all the time," but as soon as they come over here when it's hot, they're like, "There's nothing like British heat.
Yeah.
Like it just hits different. It
We
hits different."
it hits different. We don't have air conditioning,
Mm,
and our houses predominantly and buildings are predominantly designed to keep the heat in and to be insulating,
exactly.
whereas buildings in warmer climes are painted white and are made out of concrete, and so they're designed to keep the heat out, sort of thing. So we're in a position where we're not built for heat, and unfortunately, with the way that climate change and everything else is going at the moment, then we're probably gonna have to start building for heat.
Yes. Yes. God. All right. And getting very, very
Anyway, gaming podcast talking about heavy climate news on a Sunday.
and the weather. Only the most interesting topics on the gaming podcast.
Only the most. I mean, tune into two Brits talking about the weather. That's exactly what we talk about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. So, how in general, what have you been up to this fine day?
Yes. I have been out and about. I've been to see cinemas, and we'll catch up with all that in a bit
We
on
will.
the weekly recaps.
Mm-hmm.
But just a quick reminder for those of you joining us live, you can interact with the podcast both here in Twitch chat and in a special dedicated section over in the Gaming Magazine Discord. And of course, don't forget you can keep up with all the latest news and features from Gaming Magazine by visiting gamingmag.com.
Yes, you can indeed. Now, it is DigiPride here across gaming. You can check everything we have coming up at gamingmag.com/DigiPride, but it also means that we can welcome not just one, but two amazing guests on the podcast today.
Absolutely. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce our first guest from 2K UK. It's Elsa Dann.
Elsa Dann, hello.
Hi guys. How are you?
I'm like I just said, I'm exhausted. I walked. We're talking about this before the podcast, but I walked 8.5 kilometers today. After walking 10 kilometers yesterday and about 8 kilometers the day before, and doing squats for subs during streams. So I like this last couple of days, I'm wiped. I'm absolutely wiped. But how are you today?
I feel like I should probably be walking more now you've said that. I reckon I walked about 2 meters from my front door to the park and then back again today. So I've burnt about 5 calories. I've got very burnt and I've burnt calories at the same time. So it's been good.
Just
Well, it's
a
five
lot of burning.
less than you had before.
Yes,
So,
exactly. Anything is good. And, like I just started being a lot more active recently, personally, but I'll get into that during like what I've been doing recently because everything has been revolving around that for me. So, we're going to talk about you and your role at 2K, one of DigiPride's sponsors. We're very excited to have you on board this year. So, tell us, what is it that you do at 2K?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have probably the world's longest job title at 2K. So I am the director of EMEA Sports and then also the marketing director for UK, Ireland and Export. And I'm also the co-lead for Together at 2K, which is obviously what we'll be talking about today, which is good.
Heck yeah.
that's awesome. So jumping into that then. So obviously it was Pride in London last weekend. And obviously we just come off the back of Pride Month in the US. What has 2K been doing for Pride this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a bit of a crazy month at 2K. We've been doing a lot, and particularly globally as well, which has been really good to see, because sometimes it's always just like one office, or it's just Nevada, or it's just London. But in both Novato and London, we had some pretty incredible celebrations towards the end of the month. So we had some amazing drag queens come into the office in London. I think we had a drag show in Novato with some really local drag queens, which was great. We had a lot of screens around our office. We started highlighting some really great kind of LGBTQ icons. We shared their stories, the past kind of 50 years since, the first Pride that we had in London, there's been so much happening and there's still so many stories that we wanted to share. So we wanted to highlight them and, educate people in the office around what Pride is for and not just, why suddenly all the bars are having rainbow drinks everywhere. And we also had a really amazing thing where we gave $20 on our Next Level Giving platform to every single employee. And we sent them some really great local LGBTQ charities that they could donate it to. So, when you think about 2K and how many employees we have, it's a pretty large amount of money that we were amazing to give to a really pretty amazing charities across London and in the US as well.
Heck yeah, that's absolutely
That's
wonderful.
awesome.
Like, it's
Yeah,
always great to hear about what companies are doing internally during Pride Month, because obviously for a lot of corporations out there, their support of the LGBTQI plus community during Pride Month goes as far as like just turning their logos rainbow. So it's really, really cool to hear about what you do with together at 2K. That's the LGBTQIA group within the company. When did that start, and what kind of events and support does it provide your staff?
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly new at 2K. So we started, I think, maybe just over a year and a half ago now, alongside a lot of other ERGs that we got off the ground at the same time. But it's been pretty amazing to see how much we've grown in such a short space of time and to see what we have managed to achieve. And primarily, we're really just about providing that space for employees to come together and, have that safe space to be able to talk and chat. But we also have a pretty fantastic budget each year for Together as well that allows us to put on some pretty amazing events. So we've done a lot of things like workshops focused around pronouns. So we rolled that out to the entire organization so everyone can feel comfortable with that conversation and learn about it and understand what they can be doing, within their teams and within new people that are coming into the business. And we had a lot of local talks from charities come in. So we tend to get a lot of either kind of local charities or local leaders in, relevant fields come in and actually talk about their experiences and talk about what it means to be, part of the LGBTQIA community and how it's affected them in their work and how they're continuing to push that from their side. And we really try and create some great kind of volunteering opportunities as well for all of the offices globally, really. And we get some pretty good turnout. So each time we do that, I reckon we get about 30 to 40 people helping some of these charities and volunteering, whether that's just, taking our games into some local community centres and getting people to kind of have a little bit of a competition, see who's best. It's never me. But it's always good fun to do that as well. So we tend to have a lot of events like that across our offices as well, which is great.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see more Quarry playthroughs at the community events. The amount of like queer panic in general that I had playing this game this week was like just amazing. Just like, and the inclusion of LGBTQIA plus characters there too. Very chef's kiss. So I'm looking forward. Looking forward to seeing what else 2K does with that.
Yeah, I mean, I've killed off pretty much every single character. I am really bad at the Quarry. I feel like I just panic on the decisions. I never make the right one, and afterwards I'm like, But yeah, it's definitely a great opportunity to play with a lot of friends. And the inclusion in that game, again, is just a really great thing. And it's small things that just, really make the difference there. So it's a really good thing for us to be able to shout about.
And I think as well, from a sort of personal point of view as well, it's always good to have companies that kind of back up, as to Mia's point, kind of backing up the values that they live, also sort of being reflected in the games that they're making. So obviously with 2K, then across that crosses over into sort of my passion world, which is like Borderlands, Wonderlands, etc., being two of the most amazingly queer representative games as well. So it's when the Quarry came out, and we're super excited that we had to play that, or we were able to play that, I should say, and celebrate the multiplayer on Friday with Mia and Ready Set Ben and Luke, to see more queer representation and stuff on that, and from 2K was absolutely fantastic there.
Yeah, definitely. We have some pretty incredible executive support for our ERG. So, they really help us champion all the causes that we care about within the organization too. So they're definitely a huge help for us to be able to get a lot of our stuff off the ground.
that sort of brings me on to my next question, actually. So obviously Pride Month, Pride weekend in London, we're obviously the biggest champions of Pride being year round, 365. So we've kind of touched a little bit on obviously including sort of LGBT representation in game, but is there anything else that 2K is particularly doing to really kind of mark and celebrate the LGBT community year round?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's important for everyone to make sure that we remember that Pride is fun and it's an incredible month, and we want to be able to celebrate with, all of our different companies and all of our different partners. But, fundamentally, we need to celebrate Pride all the time, and particularly with employees, we want to be able to celebrate them all the time as well. And the big thing that we started together for is that a huge 2K company value, and one that you'll see plastered across, all of our websites, any job application that you see open, is we really want people to be able to come as you are, but together kind of takes that one step further. And we really want to make sure that throughout the entire year, regardless of what month we're in, we're not just getting people to come as they are, but to really be celebrated about who they are. And it's the small things that allow us to do that. We've got employee highlights that go out throughout the entire year so that we can get people to talk about their stories and their careers and where they're coming from and what they've been doing. And the planning team at Together does a really great job of making sure we have events throughout the year, because we know we're going to have big events at Pride. We're going to be able to do some really amazing things, but Pride isn't the only big kind of moment, the only big date that we obviously have in our kind of LGBTQIA calendar. And we did some really amazing things in February around LGBTQ History Month, and we had some really amazing speakers come into the office. We had another event. I think we did drag bingo, actually, which was one of the most attended events that we've ever had in the office. There was a lot of fun things that we did there. And
Hold on. Sorry, not to cut you off there, but when you say drag bingo, are we talking just the announcers in drag, or could everybody drag up for drag bingo?
I mean, anyone can drag any day at 2K if you want to, there's no limit on that. But we had the drag queens come in. There were some spot prizes. We had things being thrown around. We had some performances. It was pretty incredible.
Nice.
And with History Month as well, we peppered in a few facts. If you got it right, you basically got something thrown at your head that you could keep. It was very fun. But I think it's important to remind everyone that it's not just that 1 month, and it is kind of the whole year. So it's good for us to kind of educate them on some of the other big moments that we have. And definitely kind of the employee spotlight throughout the whole year helps as well. And all of the charity things that we do and the volunteering opportunities carry on throughout the entire year, which is great too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
That's amazing.
Like, education is so important. I mean, like, for me personally, like, it was the longest time. I didn't even know what Stonewall was until like several years ago, when I actually like sat down and looked into it. I knew it was this important thing, but I didn't know the actual like history of it until again very recently. So having this kind of information actually being like distributed, not just to obviously like queer people, but like to everybody, like getting rid of that like layer of ignorance is so important. And thank you so much for helping to make that a thing within the company culture.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have a huge amount of allies at 2K as well. And I think fundamentally they just want to learn about how to be better allies and, things around our community and what we want to celebrate and how it's best to kind of, make sure that we're being celebrated and what we need within the company as well. So the more education that we can do, the better for everyone, really.
Oh, yeah.
And then you said that Together was only like a year and a half old. Where do you sort of see the future being for that? Have you got any sort of exciting things coming up, or is there any sort of future plans? Or
yeah, I mean, we've always got a lot of good things in the pipeline. I think we're not going to spoil it in case anyone from 2K, all the people that are kind of watching this. But we have a lot of things coming up, and we're trying to grow every single month, every single year. I think we're one of the fastest growing ERGs in the company, which is pretty incredible. When we first started, I think we had about 5 of us that were in the ERG for about 2 months, and we were thinking, how are we going to get everything done here? And then suddenly a year later, we've got, over 200 people. We're a pretty big part of the organization now. So I think for us, it's more just about how do we continue doing that? How do we continue to make it more global? So how do we also bring some of our offices in, not just Novato and London? How do we become a little bit more visible in our communities as well? So we obviously do a lot with charities. Is there more that we can be doing? And 2K as a brand is really trying to talk to people, even not necessarily in our organization. So how do we make sure that everyone knows that we are an inclusive organization, and we do really want to kind of champion that diversity that we've got coming in? And sometimes it's hard to get that across to people, outside of the organization, even if we can feel it inside. So a lot of what we want to be able to do is to do that as well. And fundamentally just, get more fun stuff in the company too. We have movie Fridays. So every Friday we have a movie playing in the office, which is obviously, really good for work. But we're trying to kind of make sure that even once a month, or particularly during Pride Month, we've got some really great LGBTQ movies, and we want to talk to people around them. And it's just a good thing to kind of get some of that culture into the office as well. And a lot of people really enjoy that, which is something we want to be able to continue doing too.
Heck yeah,
I love it.
that sounds like so much fun. I want to watch movies at work. That sounds awesome. Let's do it.
It's research,
Yes,
Yeah.
it's research, definitely. Yes, research. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what you've got coming up in the future. But Elsa, thank you so much for joining us and talking to us about your work and life at 2K. It's been great having you on.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been great talking to you guys. I've also realized that it's going very dark here as I've been talking to you. So now it looks like
That's all right. You're just
slightly moving
descending
into
into
before you
darkness.
phase out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I'm just going to fade out into the background.
Just go backwards.
Fantastic. Right. Well, hopefully we'll hear from you and everything you do at 2K soon. But yeah, we'll see you next time.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Elsa.
Bye, Elsa.
Bye.
What a lovely, lovely human being.
Lovely.
Oh my goodness.
Love that.
Love
Lovely
listening.
and
Sorry, go ahead.
amazing. No. Amazing that companies. I love companies that step up and really kind of own the space of kind of being proud and having those sort of things. So slapping a rainbow on a Twitter, slapping we've made a donation to charity kind of thing, great. But actually sort of like doing work internally,
You know what?
demonstrating.
Yeah, like that's probably the most important thing to me. Charity's good, but like getting down in the grit and changing hearts and minds, that's
Yep.
definitely.
And then you can see how it trickles down into the games that are coming out.
Yeah,
It's one of my stock phrases that a diverse company will make diverse games.
oh yeah.
So you make a diverse company and it will make diverse games.
Yeah,
and we're
of
seeing
course.
that.
You want
So,
those like lived experiences being like reflected in the art that
Exactly.
we make, and the only way you do that is by
exactly.
putting them in charge. So yes, queer people in charge forever and always.
Yep.
Right. So we get to have not just one but two amazing guests today. So please welcome our second guest. It's the wonderful Ash Kaprielov. No, I knew I'd mess it up. Ash Kaprielov. Woo!
That was actually not too bad, Hello.
How
Hello,
close
everyone.
was I? How close was I? How would you pronounce it?
Well, you were definitely closer than my GP who called me Capri Cuckoo once.
That's amazing. I'm so
it's
sorry I had to do with that.
Kaprielov. Yeah.
Kaprielov.
Yeah, I always have,
Okay.
yeah, I learned NATO alphabet just so I could spell my last name on the phone. Yeah.
How are you doing today, Ash?
How are you doing?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I had went on a cycling run yesterday, like 50 kilometers or so. Done
Nice.
some cycling today as well. Done some DIY, and now I'm here. So,
Oh yeah.
humid in the air. Hate that. Can't even English because of it. But
Yeah.
otherwise, great.
That's what happens. That's what happens. Like the humidity is like getting to me too. It's just like frizziness everywhere. It's awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's why I got the short hair.
yeah.
Exactly,
Oh,
yeah.
I used to have short hair. Maybe I'll go back to that. Maybe I'll have short hair again in the future. That could be fun. Now, we always kick off things on the podcast with the weekly recap, which we talk about all the stuff that we've been doing recently. Video games, comics, stuff that we've been watching. So, yeah,
So what have you been doing recently?
that's a good question. I listened, like
Thank you.
specifically, I've been trying to get out there and get healthier. I came to this stunning realization. So my sister, who was like trapped with me in this house for the majority of the pandemic, left to go to Japan. And ever since then, I was a little bit down. I was a little bit depressed. I was doom scrolling on Twitter every day, and I was just literally like lying in bed watching TikToks. And I randomly, and I always thought, I've got to start losing weight because I've got like public appearances and stuff. I want to get healthy, and not that there's anything wrong with being, having a little bit of weight to you. I love that about some of my guys and some of my gals. But I wanted to try and just cheer myself up and get healthier. And I randomly came across this TikTok, which was like, hey, you keep saying that you're gonna exercise like next week. Just literally do it tomorrow. Just go out for an hour a day, just walk to get started. And instead of just keep putting it off and making these big plans about stuff, just do it. So I just started doing it. I started walking for at least an hour a day. Yeah, it's kind of taken over my life, unfortunately. I got myself one of the smartwatches to keep me accountable. Got one of those Galaxy watches, so I could count like the distances and steps that I'm doing. I started playing Pokemon Go again, which I've got this lovely little pin that came out. That's been my everything. And I started doing these virtual marathon things, which are actually really cool. They're called, like, I saw this was also an advertisement on TikTok that I saw, but it's called like the Conqueror Challenges. And what they have you do is that you can connect your like fitness apps to this app, and every day it will take the distances that you've walked and apply it to a virtual marathon. So
cool.
actually, hold that thought. Fill the dead air space while I grab this thing real quick.
I will fill with dead air. I love the idea of these kind of like new apps and there's new ways of kind of getting and gamifying exercise. I think it's really clever for someone who doesn't obviously do too much exercise.
Oh, shut up.
The ability to sort of like get out there and actually do something while doing something else, while doing something fun, feels like a good way of doing it.
I'm trying my best to multitask while I'm getting out there and getting healthy and actually be productive in my life. And so I ran one virtual marathon so far. This is the English Channel medal, which they sent me. And essentially, I did 21 miles. I did it in like no time whatsoever because I had no concept of distance before I started walking. And now I realize that 21 miles isn't that far. So I walked the width of the English Channel and it tracked it on the app, and it would like send you postcards periodically about like information on the places. And now I'm climbing Mount Fuji, which is about 70 kilometers. And unfortunately, that's still too short as well. So I haven't learnt my lesson, but the medal that they send you for that is really, really cool. I'm kind of just like pumped about getting out there and like exercising and trying to like do something to make myself a little bit happier and hold on to something to keep me accountable and make me proud of myself and stuff,
No, totally. I mean, Ash, you're you mentioned cycling a couple of times there, Ash, but you're a very keen cyclist. Like, what got you into that?
I wouldn't say I'm a very keen cyclist. Well, my main thing that got me into that was getting actually an e-bike, which was great presents from my Twitch audience who sponsored me for that. My mental health deteriorated during pandemic, like completely, partially because of pandemic, partially because of the my manager at the time at my previous workplace, which was a local university where they celebrate diversity when in fact they don't. So, particular disability diversity. So that kind of annoyed me. But then I was like, oh, maybe there's like some clubs I could join, and just go somewhere on my with people, because I started cycling after the my Twitch sub sponsored me to getting a bike and a motor, so I converted bike into e-bike. And I found one called Pride Out, which is a UK-wide LGBT-friendly kind of organization, better than British Cycling, which has some problem with trans people, by the way. We hate them. So just so you know, unsubscribe from them if you can.
I'll keep that in mind.
But yeah, definitely do that. There's a petition on Pride Out website for that. So I started cycling, and it kind of got me into like going to gym as well a bit more, and do things. Similarly, what Mia just said in terms of like getting accountable. My workplace has this thing called ride Ride Out or something like that. It's basically it's UK wide. Many organizations kind of join it, and you can every now and then they have like bike months where each mile you cycle gets you a points, and then you have a chance when you have like those points is like your ticket to a raffle. And at the end of the year,
cool.
yeah, you can win like £2,000 worth of bikes and all that kind of stuff. So
That's amazing.
I won a bag once. That's it. Even though I was like one of the top people in my workplace, it's just annoying. But we'll see. There's one in September, so.
Yeah, good luck with that. Like, I'm again, I'm just like really happy to be working on myself for once and not just being sad all the time. Not that I was sad all the time before. It's just in general. But yeah, like the thing is, there's some really cool challenges that I've got on there too. They even have Lord of the Rings themed ones. This isn't sponsored, by the way. I know it's a bit weird.
No, I was going to say this is getting a little bit too sponsory.
No.
Whatever,
I'm just excited to be doing
it. Are you
it.
walking to like Mordor, or are you?
That's the thing. Yeah, they have like 5 different challenges from like the Shire. It's the different parts of the journey, and you can choose whether you want to do like a shorter version of it or do the actual distances that they're supposed to have traveled in the book, which is insane. But like, I think it was like £30 a time to do one of these marathons. But the bundled version of the Lord of the Rings ones, because they're licensed, they end up being like £45 a time. You're essentially just paying for the medal and then walking to earn, or like exercising to earn it, or traveling to earn it. Yeah. But you know, it's something cool and it's unique, and I wanted to do it. But alongside that, so I'm not bored while I'm doing it, I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Go, and yeah, it's been really fun so far. I've joined on the 6-year anniversary, so there's been a lot of events and a lot of stuff to keep me busy. I actually woke up, so on Friday night, I went to bed. About what time was it? No, it was Thursday night. I went to bed about like 3:30 a.m. in the morning on the Friday morning, and then I woke up 3 hours later at 6:30, and I was just wide awake. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go out for a walk, I guess. I ended up, because there's an event going in Pokemon Go for like a Team Rocket weekend or something. I ended up walking, or maybe this was Saturday morning, considering it was only 2 days. Yeah, this was Saturday morning. Not that it matters. I ended up walking from like 6:30 to about 1 p.m. in the afternoon, just like walking around catching Pokemon all day. It was amazing. And I got sunburnt too on my back, so because I didn't wear any suntan lotion because I'm a dope. I am wearing suntan lotion today though, while I've been out
when you're outside.
Yeah, well,
I'm wearing some right now.
I mean, yes. When I'm inside and the sun has gone down, that's when I wear suntan lotion. But it's actually really cool. Like there's so much more in the game, because when it originally came out, there wasn't a lot there. It was just like going out catching Pokemon. I don't think raids were even out yet, and my phone wasn't very good at the time, back in 2016. But now it's like there's so much content that you can get involved in. You can go and run around. You can collect things. You can catch Pokemon. You can now get shadow Pokemon. And there's a whole different like mechanism there where you go to different stops and battle like Team Rocket in order to get unlock shadow Pokemon, which is really cool.
They even added shinies as well, which were not a thing.
Yeah, I got 2 shinies in my first couple days walking around. Like within like 2 hours of each other, I got a shiny Aaron and a shiny Chansey. I'm like, I'm freaking out. This is amazing. And then I haven't gotten a shiny since. So yeah, that's been depressing. But that literally it's just been me running around outside having a lot of fun. Other than that, I've been getting back into Hollow Knight. I played it for like a couple of hours, like several years ago at this point. I think back in 2017, and I just gave up on it. And now after like playing all the Dark Souls titles, playing like Elden Ring and completing that, I'm like, I need a little bit of a challenge. I need something that's actually going to like hook me, because there's nothing really out at the moment that's really hooking me. Other than the Quarry, of course, which has been a lot of fun. But I've been like waiting for the Let's Go Gaming stream so I could actually play that. So in the meantime, I was doing Hollow Knight, and it's really fun. It's really cool. It's like a Metroidvania title. I don't know if have you played it? Do I explain what it is?
I'm aware of it.
Okay, for those who haven't played it, Hollow Knight is a side-scrolling Metroidvania title, so it's kind of like your Castlevanias or your Metroid series. I would call it a combination in terms of gameplay of Metroid and Zelda 2. the side-scrolling Zelda 2, there's a lot of like mechanics which look like they were directly taken from Zelda 2 in terms of like it feels like it's a bit of a homage to those titles. And people call it the Dark Souls of platformers because it's incredibly punishing, but it's really fun. You play as this little good bug guy with a skull. I've been having a lot of fun with it because it's been incredibly challenging, but it doesn't feel mean like Dark Souls does, I guess. Everything that I've been doing, like it's the patterns that the bosses and things have been very, very easy to get down. It's just getting that timing right and like knowing when to heal and stuff like that. But it is challenging though. It's definitely challenging.
I haven't played it, and I think the reason I haven't played it is because I know it's meant to be a bit tricky and a bit challenging and this sort of stuff. And you know, and everyone knows who's listening, my theories on my level of gaming is very casual, and I don't need to be sort of stressed out in my life. So those sort of things never quite work with me. But yeah, what I love about it is it's super cute, and the
is.
art direction of it is multi-award winning, I believe, as well. So well done to them. Yes, as someone just said in the chat, actually the difficulty is softened by how cute it is, which
Definitely.
I can get, and I think it's probably a bit different to some of the sort of like the, as you say, the Dark Souls or Elden Ring or something like that. That's just designed to frustrate you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a bit more forgiving. You can equip different badges and things to help soften that experience too. You have like slots for like modifiers on your abilities. So for instance, to beat the last boss, I got like a spore badge, which I found randomly in the environment because it's like secrets in the environment and collectibles and stuff that you can pick up too, which is always fun. But I found this badge and you put it on, and when you recover your health, because there's a system where you have so many hits you can take from enemies, and if you do get hit, you have to expend this soul gauge in order to get your health back, and you get soul in this gauge by hitting enemies essentially. So there's this constant push and pull of going to the enemies and like fighting them, and then you get hit, but then you have to maybe hit them a couple more times to get your life juice back in order to heal, and then find that moment to heal too. So there's a lot of challenge in that. There's no like instant you can just like hit a button and then you get your health back. You have to literally stand in place and charge it up in order to do that, which is also part of the challenge too. You have to take a moment and make sure that you get your timing right. In fact, like certain bosses, you can beat them up to a point where they'll like stop a second and catch their breath, essentially, because after you've beaten the snot out of them, and usually that's the time when you heal. But I have this badge, this spore badge, that when you do heal, it releases a cloud of like poisonous spores, and any enemy that like steps into that area will like take DOT damage over time, which helps in terms of the battle, and it helped me beat the last boss that I was fighting because I was having a lot of trouble with it. Yeah, so there is options there for people who do want to make it easier for yourself, but it is incredibly tricky. I think if you're a fan of the Dark Souls series, you'll love it. If you're not a fan of platformers, you probably won't love it. If you're not a fan of Dark Souls, you probably won't love it. If you're not a fan of tricky stuff or challenges, you probably won't love it either. But I've been having a lot of fun with it so far. But I've also been watching Ms. Marvel, and I talked about this a little bit last week, but nobody else had watched it, so I'm really hoping that somebody has watched Ms. Marvel this week.
I've watched the first 3 or 4 episodes. I think it kind of dropped off.
I hate you so much. I was really hoping that you would have watched all of it, so I could actually talk about it and how it was.
I haven't watched all of it because it's kind of just dropped off my radar just a little bit with everything else going on. To be frank,
I mean, it's kind of telling, isn't it, that you dropped off? I mean, that's literally what I'm about to say. It got worse over time.
Oh.
Yeah, there's still the finale that's coming up this Wednesday, but at this point in the story, like every episode seemed to be worse than the last episode. Like it starts obviously in Jersey, and like everything there is really cool. Like the relationship she's got with like not only her faith but her community and the people around her and her school life. That's really interesting and cool. And then she goes to, oh god, I can't remember what the place is called. It begins with a K. I'll have to look it up, unfortunately. But she flies over to where her grandmother lives, overseas, and then it gets very it gets very odd. It's really cool seeing like the culture and stuff out there, but it starts to become very, very, I don't know, a little bit less believable. Like I really liked these interactions and just seeing her in this like Scott Pilgrim-esque
Yeah.
kind of Turning Red-esque situation where she's a teenager dealing with having superpowers, and then it goes very over the top, and it's like, I don't know, can I spoil things for Ms. Marvel?
I don't know, Ash, have you seen Ms. Marvel?
No, I actually haven't.
Are you interested in seeing Ms. Marvel?
I'm not sure. It's not my kind of thing, the Marvel stuff.
Mm.
But I mean, I occasionally I watch the films in the cinema once,
Yeah.
and that's about it. I'm the same with Star Wars, to be fair. Star Trek is not a beast. That one I will watch, but yeah, I'll watch them once, and then I kind of forget what happened there, and I completely drift away. We lost Mia.
Oh, Mia's dropped off. Well, yeah. So just keep talking about Ms. Marvel. So I remember I was watching it for the first 4 episodes, and to me, it kind of, I love the celebration of culture and everything else. But I think it started to get a little bit too High School Musical, and that's when I kind of just was a bit like, oh, because the art style, the graphic style, the way they're building the sort of like titles and stuff onto the graphics in the background and all this sort of stuff was super clever, but then it just got a bit kind of like high school angst, and it just got a bit, oh no, I'm starting to. But I do feel like I need to finish it because I know that she has a really, really big role to play going forward into the next sequels of films and the next sequence of films and stuff. So I'm kind of like, oh God, I'm gonna have to get through that somewhere.
I think you should finish it, honestly, because it kind of takes a very different direction, and maybe you'll like that different direction it
interesting.
takes
Yeah.
away from the stuff that I really found interesting, and it's the interpersonal relationships that she has. But it does have a lot to say about, again, it's very like Turning Red-esque. It has a lot to say about like relationships with your parents and like motherhood and basically family in general, and that's very, very, very cool to watch. But it has the same problem as every other Disney Plus, like Marvel, well, any Disney Plus show out there. It's like you have a very strong opening, a very strong, like maybe the first episode, and then every episode after that just gets a little bit worse until it culminates in the finale. Now, the only one that hasn't gone down this route is like Loki. I really enjoyed Loki. I feel like Loki kind of maintained its quality, dipped a little bit here and there, like one episode which is basically just filler. But like it was really good. It was like that's probably like the best of the shows. That and WandaVision, but even WandaVision had these problems as well, where at the end it becomes this big like superhero over the toppy thing. And it's like, I really love it when it's more of a character study, and the fact that every single show has to end in these like big superhero moments. Even Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because I don't want to do spoilers. But yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was the same too, where it just like lulled and got really dumb and boring.
Well, we spoke about that when it first came out. I have theories about that, in the sense that I think it was heavily impacted by the pandemic.
Yeah,
that they felt from the get-go that there was something missing. But
you say that, but every other show has followed the same formula and has the same level of writing quality. So maybe that's not it. Maybe Disney just can't write like long form series content in terms of Marvel Studios. So I mean, clearly they can with some characters. Yeah, same with Star Wars. Like Obi-Wan had the exact same problem too. Like that got like very mundane.
And the Mandalorian,
the Book of Boba Fett, the most boring thing. I mean, to be fair,
I meant it's Mandalorian.
It is Mandalorian.
3.0, I meant Book of Boba Fett, but you see what I did there. But
exactly, yeah.
That series never got started. It didn't even. There wasn't like a high start. It just didn't start.
No, it's just like
episodes.
It was like Boba Fett's doing some stuff on a planet. You get some flashbacks, and then here's Jin Darin, I believe his name is. Let's check in on his adventures instead. It's like, oh God, listen, I'm fatigued with Star Wars though. Even after Obi-Wan, it's like I'm kind of done.
Yeah,
I'm kind of done for a while. Like I'm not invested anymore. It's cool what they did at the end of that, like with the Hayden Christensen and how they mixed audio and stuff with those scenes, and that final battle was really cool. But you could tell that was supposed to be a movie, because it was originally going to be a movie, and it feels like it was just like stretched out.
Yeah,
it's like it would have worked a lot better as a movie.
It would have. It would have.
Yeah.
There's quite a few bits where it just lost the plot slightly, and you always get those filler episodes. It's really frustrating.
Anyway, I've taken us down a rabbit hole here. Robin, what have you been up to?
Well,
since the last time I saw you,
as Ash mentioned, Star Trek. Let's do Star Trek.
Let's do Star Trek.
We in the UK have only just got Paramount Plus. And it slightly annoyed me that when we got onto Paramount Plus, they're still holding back all of the Star Trek series by a whole month. They didn't just go, well, here, have all of what we have so far. They're still making us be back behind by about a month. Anyway, Strange New Worlds is the best Star Trek to come out of Star Trek for a very, very, very long time. That's my opinion, and that's what I'm sticking to.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Ash, have you caught up with Strange New Worlds?
I've seen a few of them, haven't finished it yet. It's all right. I won't say it's bad or anything. I prefer, the reason why I watch Star Trek, literally the whole reason is 7 of 9, because I just associate myself with that character on so many levels. It's just,
I wanted to be here when I was little.
I never seen the Voyager when I was like little. It's literally been like a few years ago when I first experienced it, and first like couple of seasons like it's kind of all right, and then 7 of like that's it, I'm gonna watch it now properly because in the past it was just like playing in the background. And Picard came out and I was absolutely happy with that, but this new one is okay. I'm enjoying it, but it's not the same without 7 of 9.
I have one question.
Yes.
Is it set in the Abrams universe?
No.
Thank God. All right, cool. I might check it out then. I may check it out.
It's also a really good one to check out because it's the first one of this new cycle of Star Trek. So you've got Discovery, you've got Picard, you've got
Lower Decks. Lower Decks is fantastic.
Lower Decks is amazing, actually, for paying off some really old,
I love it so much,
cheeky past references. That's actually, to be fair, is ironically one of the best Star Treks. This one is actually like Lower Decks. It's episode of the week. Which makes a real change because with Discovery and Picard and everything else that's been coming out of that wheelhouse for a while now, it's always been these massive 10-episode arcs and every single time with Discovery, it's kind of like they have this massive thing to deal with, and here comes another massive thing we've got to deal with. It's not like I actually love with Strange New Worlds. We just got past an episode where Spock and his wife they have a body swap, and it's like classic Trek. Like it's a complete waste.
Wait, Spock and his wife, is this set in the past then?
Yes,
or is he back from the dead again? Well, what's going on here?
No. Okay, this is set with Captain Pike in
oh shit, I know nothing about it.
So. Okay, so it's just after the second series of Discovery where Pike joins with Discovery. So Pike in ye olde Star Trek, Pike was the captain of the Enterprise before Kirk, and so the Enterprise was a thing. He was in the wheelchair, all that sort of stuff. So they kind of just plucked that character. He did an amazing job in season 2 of Discovery as the kind of standing captain, and that kind of earned him a whole series, I think. But it's getting it's a lovely little payoffs, lovely little sort of classic things, nice upgrade of tech. There's no kind of like big 60s kind of like clunky levers and stuff. It's really, really good, and it's episode of the week. You don't have to kind of be too paranoid about the next massive thing to affect the universe.
That is what I loved about Lower Decks, and it's also what I've been loving about, funnily enough, like Lower Decks is like the Family Guy of Star Trek, I guess.
Yes.
Maybe it was inspired by the show that I've been watching, or The Orville. Have you watched The Orville?
Yeah.
I've really been enjoying The Orville. Like, I don't know. It was like taking me back to, it's basically just a slightly less serious Star Trek, I guess. Like, I don't know. It's obviously it's not the same. It's like, it's definitely a Star Trek ripoff. Like, everything in it is basically just a Star Trek ripoff, but it's a Star Trek ripoff with pop culture references and, like, obviously, Seth MacFarlane running around making funnies.
I think that was my problem.
That's your problem?
My problem, well, just one of them.
How does that make you feel? Tell me about your feelings.
The problem there is when I first watched it, I only got maybe 3 or 4 episodes in. I just couldn't pick whether it was trying to be a comedy Like, is this a satire of Star Trek, or is this a genuinely serious sci-fi show?
It flip
And
flops, doesn't it?
they
It's really
couldn't
hard
pick
to
a
gauge the
lane, and
tone.
that's it. They could not pick a lane. If they'd have come, honestly, when it was announced and when they said that Seth MacFarlane was involved, sitting there watching it, knowing that Seth MacFarlane was doing it, I was fully expecting this to be kind of like another take on Galaxy Quest. Which is a stunning movie. Which is kind of like, it's going to be a beautiful Seth MacFarlane style satire of Star Trek. Marvelous. I could get well behind that. That'd be hilarious, in a sense of what Lower Decks is doing. But then they started off doing that. Then they kind of seeked into some really serious acting about a really serious sci-fi thing. And then there was a fart joke, and then it went back to serious stuff again. And then there was a pop culture reference about Madonna or something. And it's just like,
very weird. It's
what are we
almost like a
doing?
workplace comedy. Star Trek
Almost
thing.
but I
yeah.
just don't understand it.
Something that actually does it a lot better, and I don't want to like keep taking us down rabbit holes, but I watched since Luke Boogie was talking about it on the last podcast, Our Flag Means Death, and like Harley and Luke like raved about that. It's so good. Did you watch it?
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, well you watch it, and in 2 weeks' time we're gonna talk about it.
Ash,
All right.
have you seen whatever that was?
Our Flag Means Death. Oh my god, everybody needs to watch it. I'm just saying.
Stop the podcast. Let's turn it into a watch along and just watch.
All right, yeah, we're putting on Our Flag Means Death. It's Taika Waititi and his other chum, whose name I forget from all the New Zealand stuff, doing a pirate workplace comedy with a lot of queerness in it, and it's not queer baiting.
So that's what we do in the shadows, then. So what we do in the shadows are the vampire one. Which is amazing. That was Taika Waititi and Julian, I forget the surname, the one from New Zealand, as you say. So it's interesting that it's the same people, but doing the same thing, but with pirates instead of vampires.
Well, yeah, I don't know how I felt. Like, it was okay. What we do in the shadows, but Our Flag Means Death has been really, really fun, and I really think it's worth a watch. Just
okay.
saying. And it's definitely queer. It's not queer baiting. Let's move on though, because I want to let Ash
let's
talk about what they've been doing, because I've been dominating conversation and I'm hyper aware of that. So
and I need to talk about one more thing really quickly about what I've actually been doing, because this is me. This was my section, and all I've managed to do so far is Star Trek. And we didn't get anyway. I've been replaying.
I'm very pumped this week. I'm sorry.
It's a sneak. Don't mention a brand. I've been doing Borderlands 2, having a rerun of that with a new character. I've always played it with the Necromancer because I need a backup. So I try with a new character. That's about it. Thank you, 2K. I went to go and see Thor: Love and Thunder today, but it's way too early to actually talk about that because it's only been out for about 48 hours.
Spoil anything for me, I will destroy you.
Exactly.
In
So
every way.
I'm just going to move on. Apart from the fact it was kind of like a solid 7 or 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything particularly massively exciting, but it was a solid film. Past the time. And just we had a big week on gaming from some news we came out. So we had 2 big reveals coming out on Thursday. We revealed that we were at the Commonwealth Games here in Birmingham for 18 days running our gaming arena. If you're around, if you're in Birmingham, come and drop in, play some games, do some esports.
I'll drop in. You'll see me there.
Wonderful. There you go. Meet and greet with Miabyte. And on August the 1st, as part of all that, we're doing an evening panel talk with some wonderful queer esports people about improving representation in esports. And the other one is we just announced, and it's all going hell for leather, that next year, the 2023 Gaming Awards is live on Broadway. We are off to New York City. We are hopping over the pond from London, and we're going to a fantastic venue, a stone's throw away from Times Square, and that's in March. So just something to look forward to there. So that was our big news that we had coming out this week, and that's all I've been up to. Ash, what have you been up to this week?
This week, not really much aside from like DIY stuff and sorting out my room a little bit. Although I am working on a project for quite a while now with a couple of friends where you probably noticed that I'm a big Tomb Raider fan. Just a little bit.
Really? It didn't occur to me. It's
I know, right? It's so subtle.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah, I know. It's Lara Croft wearing a T-Rex hat and cat ears. I'm working on an animation basically that will transition not transition, that will explain the events of what has happened to Lara. I only play the classic ones, by the way. I don't like the new ones. Just throwing it out there.
We'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah,
we'll
we'll get
unpack
into
that
that
in
in
just
a
a little
bit.
bit.
Yeah. So in the classic one, because they made Tomb Raider 4, which is called The Last Revelation, and then they had to make Chronicles, which is kind of set in the memories of her friends because she's presumed to be dead in the fourth one because developers were so sick of doing Tomb Raider games, they just decided to kill her off. But then there was Angel of Darkness because the publisher, Eidos Interactive at the time, was like, what did you do? Well, why did you kill her off? That's literally the only thing that makes money to us. So they were forced. But because Angel of Darkness was rushed, it was not explained what has happened to her. How did she survive the collapse in Tomb Raider 4 where she was buried underneath the pyramid? And there was always this, what has happened there. They released a book which is awful, where it's clearly someone's fanfic. Was just some authors thought, I'll just put Lara Croft onto it and just publish it like that. Made no sense. But I worked with a writer for the Angel of Darkness. We're good friends, and he actually wrote a script where it explains what has happened. So I approached the voiceover of Lara for the Angel of Darkness Chronicles and The Last Revelation, Tomb Raider 4. Again, good friends with Janelle. And I thought, I'm not going to pay anything, but can you just read the script as if it's Lara reading it? And she's like, oh, yeah, sure. So she done that. And I'm working on animation, which will, show those events from her perspective, as if she's reading her diary kind of stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Little beautiful pictures drawn by a fan as well. The music is written by the talented Dean Kopri, who's probably watching. So it's gonna be great. But at some point in October, I think it's 15th of October. It's going to be premiere. Well, not premiered. I'm going to preview it as soon as it's ready. It's nearly ready. So that's what I was working on this week. It will be It will be shown on the big screen in Derby, the birthplace of Lara, on the 15th of October in a cinema called Quad. There's also going to be Q&A with Janelle Elliott, who voiced Lara. There's going to be some developer talk as well in there. So it's quite exciting times to be there on the 15th.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
That
Derby's literally half hour up the road from where I live. So, I mean,
you should go. You really should go. Yeah. But be sure to get tickets as soon as possible because they actually selling out. I was actually surprised because they said to me a couple of weeks ago, oh, we sold out like half of them now. So I go, no pressure.
Well, do the shout out. Where can we get tickets?
I shall post the link in the chat in a moment.
Excellent.
Heck yeah. Oh, that seems like that'll be super fun to attend. Wait, where is Derby anyway, Robin?
It's
link deleted.
Oh no! Oh no! Put in the private chat. I'll take care of that. Don't worry.
Right. Okay, I need to do it on this PC then.
Oh no! Oh no!
Derby's just like north of us in Birmingham. So
really,
yeah.
Okay, I listen. You can tell that I didn't.
It's not a great place to go.
No, it's. I used to live near there, and it's not.
I wasn't a big geography person in school.
I mean, why would you know about Derby anyway?
Why would you?
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's
there's a link in the chat.
Good event though.
Grab a ticket if you're near Derby. If you're in America, then sorry.
You can always fly.
Well, carbon footprint. Is there going to be, or even losing baggage in massive queues at the moment? Is this going to be kind of broadcast on air at any point? Is there any way that people can watch that?
I offer them so that we could do that because they could actually sell tickets online as well because it's a charity cinema, so they rely on funds. So don't think it will be, but I offered them to guide them through the setup. So maybe. I know that lots of Americans are coming, like Uncharted Raid in the chat is coming over and going to meet him for the first time. My friend Terenate, who is watching this, will be filming it. We filmed the previous events, which also had some developer talk on it. And yeah, so this time she will be filming because I'll be on stage. I will not be able to. So it will be filmed and you'll be able to watch it afterwards. But if you can make it, I say go for it because it's going to be amazing. It's going to be lots of fun. And it's celebration of the Angel of Darkness, which was last released British game for Tomb Raider before it was sent to America, where they pissed it away into Mummy Daddy story because, it has to be relatable somehow. But yeah, it's great. And you get to meet Janelle, who is, I think it's her first public event as a voiceover. Shelley, who did the voiceover for the first Tomb Raider games, she actually was not aware people actually like her. I had to message her agent many years ago, said, "Hi, can I have an interview?" She's like, "Oh, people still remember me." I'm like, "Yeah." So she registered on Twitter. It's like, "Oh, I didn't know." So now she does Comic Cons every now and then. So hopefully Janelle will start doing that as well. Yeah, it's so cute. She's so hilarious, Shelley. You should watch.
Awesome.
I did the interview with them too. Shelley got a little bit pissed, I think, but it was literally, it felt like, morning mimosa in American Dads. It literally felt like we three, middle-aged women, completely pissed, and we have an interview. I don't drink, but that's how it felt. If you want to check my YouTube channel for that, it was so fun. For 3 hours we spoke. So yeah, it will be a great event. It will be. I definitely recommend it. It's a third event that they do Tomb Raider wise in Derby Quad. The first one was Tomb Raider 20. Which I also went to, but I actually had my own event just before that, which was Grande in Manchester on the Play Expo. We had big ass stage in there and stuff like that. So for me, it felt a bit underimpressed because I was just involved in this big thing that I made it, and then you go into a small cinema in Derby. Yeah, but then we went. The last one we went last year again in October for Tomb Raider 25. I actually really enjoyed it. Didn't thought I would, but I did. And this time it's Celebration of the Angel of Darkness, which is controversial because, it was not finished game and it had a bad press, and because it's of all the bugs, it's 2003 we're talking, you could not download the patch from Steam, So, but the great story, amazing music, and yeah, it has its own fan base kind of thing.
I imagine that's going to bring closure to a lot of people as well around narratively what's supposed to happen.
I mean, yeah, that's the film that animation that I'm doing should do that because it will be canon explanation. Yeah, but the whole thing though, because it's solely focused on the Age of Darkness. My friend Peter, who did the music for those last 3 games, we actually worked on a music album a couple of years ago called Tomb Raider Dark Angel Symphony. Plugging it in, you can stream it on Spotify and whatever, or you can get the vinyl. CD sold out. Vinyls are available on eBay. You can probably see it somewhere there. There's a gold CD there. So what we've done, we raised funds through Kickstarter to sponsor it, and we had Hans Zimmer's musicians involved to perform the music. And the arranger was Richard Niles, who was Pet Shop Boys guy, Madonna, Kylie Minogue, all that kind of stuff. So he's big name. But we also had Tina Kuo from who did the music for Batman vs Superman. The sexy cello woman. That's her. And we had her solo, and we had Julia Elvin to sing. You will know Julia Elvin from the vocals in the Horizon Zero Dawn. That powerful vocal. So it was incredible to do all that. But finally, with my best moment, which, gay people in this chat would appreciate, we had Pete Hammond remixing one of the tracks, and you'll know Pete Hammond if you're a big Kylie Minogue fan. So it was a big thing, and we'll have some presents there too, because Peter's coming over. Hopefully I'll have a backdrop, which we bought for interviews, which we never ended up, we used it, but we probably will release the interviews at that point, actually, because we didn't really make documentary in full afterwards. And that kind of stuff. So it will be a big celebration of the game that never really was released in its full potential. It was supposed to be a trilogy, but then they cancelled it all, which was quite a downer. Although, on top of everything, I will also be talking about the preservation of games on that talk, because during my work as a Tomb Raider blogger, I actually discovered, I was sent anonymously an unfinished build of the last Tomb Raider game that they were working on before they were sacked completely. It was like a remake of the first game, called Tomb Raider Anniversary Edition.
Yeah,
but then Crystal Dynamics stepped in and said, no, we're going to make our own called Tomb Raider Anniversary. So they were basically sold to Rebellion at the time. And people seen trailers of it and screenshots and stuff like that. So everyone kind of dreamed to play it because it looked great. It's from the original developer. And then about 15 years afterwards, I received this anonymously, and I asked Crystal Dynamics because, we have if you run a blog, you can join their community program, if you will. So I messaged them saying, can I release this? Because legal stuff. And I never got a response, which annoyed me because every now and then they will respond to everything except for that for some reason. So I went to like various museums, and like, the UK gaming museum and the American museums as well. I said, look, I have this. Will you publish it? Like, well, we do need permission. So we're going to send them a letter and ask for that permission. Got no response, which was like, so disgusting. I was so pissed off by that. So what I'd done is it was December 31st. I can't remember the year now, 2019. I woke up with massive anxiety. I was having a breakdown because of my work. I hated my job at the time. I went on a long cycle. It was snowing as anything. Went to Bolton, which was covered in horse shit everywhere, which was really weird. And I was like, I'll come back.
That's just Bolton. That's
just
Bolton on a
general.
typical day.
Yeah. It's always smells there as well. So I went there and I came back and I was like, it's 31st of December. Lawyers will be off until January 4th at least. So I went live on Twitch at 8 p.m. just before New Year's Day. And I said, hi guys, if you go on our website right now, I uploaded the build there. Please download it before it's taken down. So I uploaded it onto archive.org and everything. I immediately received an email from Crystal Dynamics at 5th of January saying, well, we'd appreciate if you would ask us first. I'm like, I did 3 times.
Ooh.
But
I have receipts. Here are the receipts.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, well, it's good. If you need any help, I'm like, yes, could you promote it? And yeah, nothing was done. And then it was pulled away. Like from we got a copyright strike on archive.org by a bot. Because have Yuki. Yeah, but I went to like Square Enix Europe and said, look, do you really want to piss off fans because they really enjoy this? They're like, oh no, we're gonna fix this. Don't worry, it's a mistake. It's a bot doing that. So Square Enix Europe, which was fantastic. Ed, shout out to you for helping that. He doesn't work there anymore. And it was returned back. And when I checked the Google News tab at the time, for many, many weeks, if you search for Tomb Raider, all first 3 pages were all about that cancelled game and that core design, the original developer were like, it was so like heartwarming for me as a fan because this is the game that, kind of made me in the sense. I learned English because of it. I actually live in UK because of it. I mean, at some point in my life, I used it as just my sole escapism from reality. I grew up in a country where it's legal to be gay, that kind of stuff. So I played Sims a lot and Tomb Raider a lot because there was massive levels, so you just get lost yourself and stuff. And I met a friend online because of Tomb Raider. I had dial-up internet, by the way, don't laugh. And we met online on some forums, and she actually spammed me to join hers. And on my 15th birthday or 16th birthday, she actually talked me out of suicide attempt because I was in such dark place. So if it wasn't for Tomb Raider, I actually wouldn't be alive, most likely. So, and for me to see that, the original developers who kind of, shaped me in this way and who were so mistreated by bad publicity for the Angel of Darkness. It was just so, I was so emotional then, it was so great. And fans are still developing that unfinished build. There's lots of stuff. They made it playable within like 24 hours, which was incredible. But it's full of bugs, obviously, it's unfinished build. But there's slow development with it. And Shelley, who voiced Lara in the first game, I said, look, will you voice it if we will write you some lines? There's no lines in there. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So we might have, so we might have at some point, many, many years, we might have a finished game, hopefully.
Hell yes. Now, I will cut you off for a second because we're definitely stepping on potential.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I just
later.
went in there. I do have a DG like you. So.
It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. But we're going to move on to a section we like to call bite-sized news, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's where we go over everything gaming in the news lately. We're literally just going to cover headlines today, just some really, really cool stories that are happening, and maybe just like a little bit of commentary on it. So Ashley Birch has confirmed she's come out as queer, which is amazing. It's awesome. She came out on Twitter as pansexual. Absolutely fantastic. Funnily enough, Robin, did we end up nominating her as one of the gaming icons, or was she not included in the nominations for that? We had a discussion about it, didn't we? Because we were questioning at the time behind the scenes. I remember we had a conversation which was like, it's like Ashley Birch gives off, so she plays so many queer characters and like gives off a lot of queer energy. She's very, very like helpful and like a wonderful ally to the community. Not that, you know, somebody has to be queer for that to happen, but like that's why I wanted potentially to have her included, because she's just a good ally. But this is just like the best news, you know?
Absolutely. And I think that's just, for me, it's just something that, I mean, from the get-go, knowing who Ashley is, knowing, as you say, the amount of queer female, strong as well, queer female characters that she's played over the years. I badly, I suppose, assumed, I'd always kind of assumed that Ashley was part of our community. And I think it was that kind of some of those discussions when we were kind of interviewing her on Gayming a couple of years ago, and more recently as well. Like we've done a lot of work with Ashley, and having always kind of celebrated the fact that she's contributed so much to our world, so much to our games, by bringing voice to these amazing sort of queer women. To finally kind of come out and join and be and not admit, be part of our community, I think is kind of like the crowning glory in some ways, and it kind of feels right. Like it kind of had to be. It kind of had to be anyway. So I think that's, yeah. I mean, welcome to the family. But I think, frankly, there was always a seat for you here anyway.
Exactamundo. And like she said, that the only reason that she was going to do it is because it like felt like it was needed right now with everything that's going on. So honestly, that's going to be heartening for a lot of people. So
absolutely.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, definitely. Other one from me. So I don't know if people saw from the comic world, there's now an official gay Spider-Man on the way out. It's ruffled a few feathers because their background, they are a fashion designer and they present as a femme superhero. There's pictures of them on Twitter, there's pictures of them on Gaming. Go and check it out. The outfit, I think, is stunning. I love the neck ruffle. But unfortunately it has provided just a little bit of angst in the community because they've kind of gone with you had to fall into the trope. There you go. So web weaver there, with some very good sleeves, and the little ruffle around the neck and stuff is just amazing. But it kind of, I think it's rubbed a couple of people up the wrong way, in the sense that people have just assumed that because they're gay, they have to be femme, they have to be a bit drag.
Yeah, I think that's the core of the issue at the moment, is that like a lot of the representation for gay people in the Marvel universe has been very like femme presenting and kind of goes back to those stereotypes. Like, is everything just like an episode of Will and Grace? Is it just like the Jack stereotype from Will and Grace every single time a character's included? I mean, I'm waiting for my like Big Bear gay character, you know, in the Marvel universe. I was
just about to say that, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not even in Marvel universe, like anywhere, even in games, like unless it's like an indie developer or something. It's like, you look at Mortal Kombat. Oh yeah, they have a gay character. Yeah, another joke, you know. Like, where's the bears? I like bears. You know, I don't want that. I don't want that. That's not my thing. Why not? Like, you know, it's I agree. That's I'm one of those people who got ruffled feathers by the Spider-Man thing. Yeah, it's just quite disappointing.
I mean, it's always great to see representation, but it's got to be something different that actually reflects real people. You know, it can't be the same thing every single time. But yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully, the feedback that they're getting means that they'll make changes in the future.
Just to kind of round it off, I think that it's, as always, I think a lot of judgment's being passed on one image, and they don't believe they've actually made their debut yet. So I think we can only go.
It's not until October or September.
There you go. So. Yeah. So we can only go off of those basic sketches, and I think at the moment it's kind of like you've kind of punched in with a really potentially kind of it's another stereotype kind of news. But let's see how that kind of progresses. Let's see how the character kind of rounds off.
I won't get into a big conversation about it, but the other thing that kind of annoys me. It's like it's part of the Spider-Verse storyline, so it's very possible that they just bring this character in for a couple of like issues and then you never see them again.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of like a throwaway thing, and they announce it during Pride Month just to make a big deal out of it and get like, you know, clicks. And it might not even be a character that's long lasting. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not getting my hopes up because it's Marvel, and you know, Marvel doesn't have the best track record.
Particularly Marvel Comics, yeah.
Right, so here's another one, like one more headline. The Season of Pride 2022 celebration, it kicks off, was already kicked off. It kicked off on July 1st. Basically, it's happened for the last 4 years now. I've been very, very happy to have been involved every single year. It's basically Mid-Boss running their annual Season of Pride. They essentially bring together a bunch of queer content creators in order to play video games either made by queer developers or have queer representation within them, and we all get together and we raise money for charity. I actually did my one yesterday. We played Citizen Sleeper, and it was a lot of fun. It was like a TTRPG game, and it had a lot of inclusion in there. There are non-binary characters. There, your character yourself, you even question your own character's gender because your character doesn't really have a gender. You are more so, you're called a sleeper, which is why it's called Citizen Sleeper, like a robot where your brain has been copied from your original person because you sold your body to a corporation, and then they put that brain scan inside of this machine, and you've escaped from the corporation. Now you're on this space station trying to live your life with other people. And so it doesn't even, like, you as a player character, you don't have any particular gender because you're a robot, so you can like imprint yourself on there, no problem. It's got a lot of inclusion in terms of the characters, and it's really cool that Mid-Boss just basically does this every year. They arrange this event where it's for charity, and you get to see so many games that you wouldn't normally see. As well, you have tie-in sales across a multitude of websites. There's a Steam sale, Season of Pride sale. There's stuff on GOG. I'm not sure if who else got involved. And even on Nintendo, on their eShop, also did stuff for it too, that's Nintendo. Nintendo never gets involved in LGBTQI plus stuff.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool. So you get streamers like Jeff Brutlag, Deer, Urban Bohemian, all the good names, some of our obviously gaming ambassadors as well involved in that. But across the month, you're going to see a lot of amazing queer streamers play a bunch of amazing queer games. So yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Love that. Love Mid-Boss. Big shout out to Cade and all the people there.
Cade is fantastic. And they might give me a voice role in their next game. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, they didn't promise or anything, but you know. It might be too late at this point, honestly, because I think Read Only Memories, the next one that's coming out, is fast approaching, and I think they're almost finished on it. So
Kitsune Tales and stuff coming out later in the year as well, isn't it?
All right, I'm gonna message Cade real quick.
Moving on. So that was Season of Pride. We're obviously in the middle of our Digi Pride. So coming up this week on Digi Pride, we've got some fantastic things to look forward to. On Tuesday, we have another Digi Pride panel right here on Twitch. It's about queer games makers. We have 6 amazing indie games makers, all LGBTQ, joining me for a chat about the challenges and the fun of making queer indie games. So you can tune to that. It's the usual time, 9 p.m. UK, 4 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday, you're back, Mia, with Let's Go Gaming for Digi Pride. Is that true? Nod, smile. Yes. There we go. Cool. And
sorry, I wasn't listening. I tuned out for a second there. What was the question?
I was going to say, don't do that to me. I was saying you're back this Wednesday with Let's Go Gaming.
We're back. We're back this Wednesday with Let's Go Gaming. Yes. Sorry, I was looking at the interview section because we're gonna change a few things now. Speaking, is that everything? Or
no, if you want to keep talking about that, but I've got 2 more things to talk about first.
Go on. Go ahead. Well, no, Let's Go Gaming is going to be fun. It's going to be this Wednesday. I don't know what we're playing yet, but I'm going to have a Lumetric back on and some guests that they bring along with them. It's going to be so awesome.
Much fun. Saturday, it's the CMSA DigiPride Fortnite Tournament. The CMSA, Chicago Metropolitan Sports Association, are doing some fantastic bi-weekly, fortnightly esports stuff with us for DigiPride. This coming Saturday is Fortnite. Head over to DigiPride site to find the form to register. That is gaymingmag.com/digipride. And lastly, we recently launched, as of a couple of days ago, our Wizards of the Coast competition. You can go and win a starter set for D&D. You can win a starter set for Magic the Gathering, some other stuff from Magic the Gathering, and some fabulous D&D Pride t-shirts that will never set foot in this country. So you can go and enter that. We have our ongoing Arcade Spirits competition. You can go and win copies of the game and a Nintendo OLED Switch. And we've got some Xbox competition launching this week, hopefully, and a 2K competition launching this week with some very special prizes to be given away. So all of that,
yes.
gaymag.com/digipride. Will have an amazing week and remaining month and a half.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, just as a reminder, if you are here watching live, make sure you hit that follow button. We're always trying to get our more peeps on board into the gaming family, as it were. And if not, head on over to twitch.tv/gamingnmag, where we are streaming live right now. And probably we'll be streaming all of this stuff for DigiPride at twitch.tv/gamingnmag. So come here, hit the follow button. But we're going to move on to you, Ash. It is time for your spotlight. Now, we've gotten to know you a little bit, but we're going to get to know you a little bit more. Now, some of these questions are pre-picked, so it may go over some stuff that you've already talked about, but we'll roll with it. We'll roll with it. Yes, you can expand.
You can expand. And just
Exactly.
to sort of set the stall out, we're expecting about half an hour for this segment. So I love some wonderful deep conversation, but let's keep it moving and let's get through our questions.
You clearly don't have ADHD, Robin. You don't know how it works.
Right.
I'll just leave you and Mia to it. Go.
First off, that I just wanted to mention that set. Oh my god, that's incredibly impressive. For those of you who are audio listeners and you can't see the set, there is RGB everywhere. It looks like it looks like a gamer moved into a pharaoh's temple. That's exactly what it looks like right now. With a lot of Tomb Raider everywhere. But how long did that take to put together?
It's all been kind of slow process. As soon as
piecemealed over time.
Yeah, kind of. First thing I got was the wallpapers, which look like Egyptian tomb kind of thing. You can't really see them on the back, but you see the accent wall here. Then kind of escalated. Peter, the composer for Tomb Raider 4, 5, and 6, got me this Lara statue for his birthday.
Oh my god.
So it's
what?
Okay. Yeah, I know.
You know what?
That's awesome.
It's somewhere, and he drew it, and he got such weird looks from people in McDonald's because it looked like a dead woman in his back seat. So it's kind of grew eventually, kind of stuff. You don't see my PC here, which looks like an obelisk as well. There's a lot of going on here. It kind of was wild. Took me a while.
We've talked about this next one, Sam, but we're going to kind of praise you maybe some of the stuff we talked about. But obviously, you're a Tomb Raider super fan. We can see from the decoration, we can see from the conversation that you had earlier. And we've spoken at length already about how special the series is for you, and also how kind of it's in your own words saved your life. I just think that's amazing. So I think we've established the Tomb Raider super fan and super fanness, and
I'm actually called that way by Retro Gaming magazine and some other magazine I can't remember. So I'm officially Lara super fan. That did ruffle a few feathers. It was my choice of words, but people got annoyed that why is he being singled out and stuff.
I mean, to be fair, if they literally looked at the room that you're sitting in, there's no question. There's no question. I mean, I have a cavalcade of BS behind me that's from all over the place. All I can see is Tomb Raider there, and honestly, it's amazing. It's amazing. But yeah, it's so great that you're that involved in the series to that level. It's really, really cool. Now, I'm gonna make an admission. I'm not a massive Tomb Raider fan myself, not because I don't like them or anything. I just haven't played many of the games. And I was really surprised in my research to find out that Lara is basically a queer icon. What is it about Lara in the Tomb Raider series that you think attracts the love of queer people? What is special
what's
about
hilarious? The current developers tend to brand her as the original Lara, the one who we love, as you know, the sexist kind of sex doll with big boobs, that kind of stuff, you know. But then you look at the fandom, which is like majority gay. It's like, yeah, right, gay people like triangle boobs. Yes, that's a thing. But then you also look at the actual developers for the 90s, particularly. Again, the current devs tend to market that, you know, the new trilogy was written by a woman for the first time, which is a lie. The first Tomb Raider games, the first 3 Tomb Raider games were written by a woman called Vicky Arnold. So, you know, her biography, the whole plot, it's all Vicky Arnold. So she was created by a woman in that sense. Yes, the guy called Toby Gard created the concept art, general look and feel, but she was shaped in the character by a woman called Vicky Arnold. Then you have a programmer for it called Richard Flower, who is openly gay and married to a man. And actually in Tomb Raider 4 executable files, as you open it in Notepad, you can see a message to his husband in there. It's very cute. And one of the key testers, at the time, it was a man, but then he's a woman now. So, you know, he transitions. So it has such an incredible diversity for the 90s we're talking about, you know.
That's
in
amazing.
England, in Derby of all sluts, you know, you get all this, you know, and then you analyze that. It's just incredible. So for the queer icon, I think it's just it's not even about the whole, well, you know, we do like our powerful women, don't we? But it's also the fact that it's a powerful character who kind of doesn't really care. She kind of goes and does her things. She does it her own way. Yeah, she kills off like endangered animals and kind of stuff. But you know, she has the whole thing, you know, about Lara in the first 3 Tomb Raider games. You didn't really know much about her unless you read the booklet, which has her biography and all that kind of stuff. But
like the instruction booklet back when you used to get them.
Yeah. You had
I missed those
in the game. Yeah, but I didn't have it at the time because I had them pirated. So in my country, we didn't have licensed games. So you could actually, if you don't read that, you could make her kind of in your own head, like what kind of character it is. You could get to see her house, that kind of stuff. You could shape that character. Then you read the booklet. Yeah, she's like this strong woman who grew up in this aristocratic family and then thought, you know what, I went on this travel with this guy and I actually enjoyed traveling. So no, I'm not going to marry some, you know, fiance that my family chose to me because, you know, we're aristocrats and royal kind of bloodline. So she was disowned by her family and she kind of does her own thing. I think that is a big inspiration as well for gay people, particularly in the 90s, where families probably wouldn't be so accepting to what you choose to be. And she chose to be this archaeologist woman, you know, the Tomb Raider. And she kind of said, yeah, well, screw you then, I don't care, and kind of went to do her own thing because she doesn't really care as much. So I think all that combined, and she was shaped by this Vicky Arnold who clearly knew what she was doing. I really hope she actually gets to see what the character that she created back in the day is still loved. We couldn't find her anywhere. I'm friends with lots of developers for the original set. No one knows where she is. She just disappeared, vanished. But yeah, I don't think she realized how much of a power she has created.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because the original character, as you rightly said, it regularly gets picked up as being kind of like, oh, it's this big-breasted woman that's obviously been designed for the straight guys kind of thing. And I think that when they kind of redeveloped it with Crystal Dynamics for the new grittier Lara, they did make everything a bit more in proportion, let's say. But that kind of loses the plot a little bit because if it was, as you say, it was designed by queer people, written by queer people, and I think for me, it was as a sort of moderately good fan of Tomb Raider. It always read in my head as I was growing up as drag. I felt very much like sort of like she was a drag queen in some ways because of that heightened appearance and shapes and sizes and whatever else. I just sort of thought. My worry is I think that how that kind of maybe got washed out in the more recent times.
It's very sad because they had the trilogy called which had Tomb Raider Legend Anniversary and Underworld, which had the Underworld was the last of that trilogy, and I actually enjoyed that game very much. I think this is the only time Crystal Dynamics actually managed to make a Tomb Raider game. in my sense anyway. There was some mommy daddy story in there involved, but it wasn't that bad. There was a closure. The mother is dead. That's it. I was looking forward to the next game. Oh my God, she actually gonna adventure for her own enjoyment. But then they rebooted it with this thing. And the first game I was like, okay, fine. Maybe she's just becoming the Tomb Raider. And then you had Rise of the Tomb Raider. She was rising in the first one, you know. Then they had the Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So she's still becoming one. Jesus Christ, you know. And in all these 3 games, and even if you count the previous trilogy as well, she's the shadow of her father. She's just following the steps of her dad. Dad was right, you know, that kind of, you know. It's, pardon my French, it's just, you know, it's not what she is. Like, she was this huge feminist icon. And then even Rihanna Pratchett, who wrote the trilogy, she actually says that she was forced to make it about the dad because, you know, now that's my words here, because, you know, she's the daughter of Terry Pratchett and they wanted to market it like, you know, that kind of way. And it's so, like, it's quite, you know, even you look at the Tomb Raider 25th celebrations these days, they done pretty much cool. Yes, they had like they released some unseen content, which was fantastic, but there was nothing else really. They did the cookbook and it's like, oh yeah, put her into the kitchen. That's not sexy at all, you know. That was like, that's such a slap, you know. And then fans make things like, you know, yeah, like fans, that event in Derby, that's by fans. A fan organized it. For Tomb Raider 20th anniversary, they also done cool. They had cosplay gathering while I organized the Play Expo thing. That same fan organized the Derby thing. And it, you know, we've done all these cool events, and it's just so unasked, and it's so you know, they have all these millions of money to pass away, you know, and they just don't care, and it's very disheartening, really.
Well, like, quick question. Like, this was not actually a planned interview question, but how do you feel about the idea that I know that it was under Square Enix in terms of like the publishers, but now that's moving away? Do you feel like that's good for the series?
No, because people don't understand that actually Square Enix doesn't really do much in that sense. They're the publisher. If you ever worked in a large company, say, let's compare it to NHS, okay? So your local NHS branch has a broken phone. Do you go to the Minister of Health to sort out that broken phone? No, you complain to the branch and they sort it out. So same with this company, Crystal Dynamics. They are in charge of Tomb Raider. They own the IP, so they're the ones doing it. The only thing that Eidos does, well, Square Enix did, was basically bailing them out financially because, you know, you look at the recent accusation, you see the acquisition by the Embracer, you look at how they were actually breaking even for all these 10 years. They've done no money, basically. That Avengers flopped as anything. So, no, I don't think it will, unless Embracer will be like, okay, you know what? Going to be in control here now. You clearly don't know what you're doing. Then, yes. Otherwise, I'm very skeptical. I actually recorded a video about it. I didn't publish it yet because I think it will be quite offensive to some people. So, but yeah, not too keen. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's like, I would hope that maybe like the new publishers would put their foot down in some situations, but like historically, that doesn't necessarily happen. It's probably just going to be by the numbers. Yeah. Yeah. So is there anything redeemable about the newer games? Like, so I've played one Tomb Raider game and it was the reboot. That's all I've played. That's all I've played.
Get out.
I know it's awful. It's awful. So yeah. So
I did enjoy the very last one. The Shadow Tomb Raider was more or less okay, but that was made by a different studio. That's why it was okay. It wasn't. It had some like the last bit of it kind of dragged on. Everyone hates piety kind of thing, but the DLCs for like the Manor, again developed by Nixies, but they were again in such a moderator kind of level of like Crystal. They were like forced to do it the same way. That was right kind of bullshit stuff. It's so boring, but you know, you get to see some Easter eggs because Nixies know what they're doing. There's like plush T-Rex, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's all nice, but the only redeemable thing I think from the Shadow Tomb Raider is just the fact that you get to explore different, that is gritty, industrial, snowy environments, this grit and metal kind of stuff. Like, when they invited some of us to E3 for the Rise of the Tomb Raider presentation, and we played Syria, like just the opening level, I was like, finally, all these golden, shiny stuff, all pretty. And then it was just only 10 minutes. Then you go to Siberia and explore gulags and all that stuff. Again, metal. It was just so disappointing. And that's why the Shadows Tomb Raider, I really enjoyed that. You get to Mexico. It almost was like Tomb Raider 4, Last Revelation. She's caused the apocalypse and she's trying to fix it. But they made her quite emotional there again. Like, I mean, in Tomb Raider 4, she was a bit emotional. She was like, I kind of fucked up, so I'm going to fix this in that sense. Mm-hmm. But she was still this cool, sassy, strong woman kind of way. Yeah. I think locations were great in Shadow Tomb Raider. Otherwise, Lara, no. I mean, I learned English because of Tomb Raider. I can't play modern Tomb Raider games in English because the actress just has this Americanized accent. She lives in America for 20 years. So it affects it. So I can't play that. I had to play it in Russian. So it's just, that's just saying, isn't
crazy.
it?
Honestly, like I had some weirdness with even the new games in terms of like the narrative that they decided to go to. There's like a disconnect there too, where they make a big deal about her murdering a guy for the first time, like killing a guy, and then like 5 minutes later, you're just like mowing down everyone, right?
It's like in a little bit bloodbath basically in there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So for someone like me who has only played the reboot once, well, at least the first reboot, because I didn't really.
I played them all. I played them all.
Yeah. I only played the first one.
I was optimistic at the time, so I was like, I'll play them all. It's fine.
For someone like me, what should I be playing? Like, where should I jump into the series? Like the original game, or?
It depends. Do you like kind of Minecraft? You tend to play indie games, so I'd say start with the very first one. But I do explore the fan patches because fans created some incredible things like HD textures, all that kind of stuff. You can play it in like literally 4K and it looks okay. I mean, if you played like Minecraft and stuff, you see the graphics are quite bad in there, but it's still a great game. So you have Tomb Raider 3, which had like recently HD patch made by fan. It's still in progress, but the India looks incredible. So yeah, if you apply all the patches, otherwise you can't play them anyway because they're broken. And that's for 25 is Tomb Raider. They didn't even bother releasing a patch to make them playable, on Steam. Yeah, so if you apply all the fan patches, start with the very first one, then you can play the Legends Anniversary Underworld and see how that went. Not too bad, but still not as great for me, in my opinion. But then there's a reboot. Yeah.
Cool. I'll have to jump in there then.
You've we spoke a lot obviously earlier about sort of all the different contacts you've had and all the different people that you've worked with and the VAs and the VOs, and you mentioned Peter Connolly obviously from the Symphony side of things. How did you build that network? How did you kind of like piece all these things together?
It was actually hilarious. I thought, I will start blogging because I was actually an international student in UK at the time. And for us, the foreigners who were not part of the EU, that was way before Brexit, we're talking 2011, we could not get full-time jobs, even the break period. And in the break period, you have to fly back to your country to apply for visa. So, so you could work full-time, but you can't. So I was limited to 20 hours a week, and the only jobs I could get probably is McDonald's or something like that. I thought, no, I can't really do that because I want to do something else. And I started blogging. I started Tumberfash, my blog. And I was like, well, what do I do on there? Yeah, I could put my renders I've done as a fan back in the day, that kind of stuff. And then I approached, I think it was Andy Sandhammer, who was a level designer. And I said, look, on Facebook, I was like, hi, can I do the interview for you for the Lara Croft in Russia, because I was actually good friends with them. And so we done an interview. They published, translated to Russian. They're cool guys, by the way. They don't support Putin. And then I was like, you know what? I actually want to post. This is when I thought, I will create a blog. as well. And it kind of escalated from there. He introduced me to Heather Gibson, who made, again, level designer for the first 2 Tomb Raider games, was a woman. She'd done the iconic Manor, Heather Gibson. So she'd done the Manor and lots of other bits in the game. And with her, there were some mysteries, like what was the inspiration for the Manor and stuff like that. And I started stalking people, I suppose you can say this, on Facebook. Hi, I run this website. Could I speak to you, please? On LinkedIn as well, because some of them wouldn't be on Facebook.
You were networking. You were making connections.
Basically, like on LinkedIn. That's what LinkedIn is for. And then when I made friends with Peter Connolly, who basically introduced me to the rest of the gang, and then it was 20 years of Tomb Raider, and I went to Play Expo a year before, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's very retro. I love it. It's a massive event here in Manchester. So I sent them a message on my, I think I was doing MA. I was like on this Christmas holiday period. And I was like, hi, I know all these people. Why don't we have a panel? 20 years of Tomb Raider, Crystal will do all. Can we do something? No? Hello? There was no response for 3 emails. So then I sent a 4th one. And then the response was for actually the director of this. Like, yeah, your emails were traveling to me across the chain. Yes, let's do that. What do you have in mind? So we gathered them. It was in complete secrecy. We didn't want Crystal Dynamics to get involved. So, and we had this massive celebration of the retro games in that sense. And that was incredible. And they did not know that people still play the games. They were under impression they were going to be a small panel, somewhere in the corner with 20 people attending, but they were on main stage at prime time on Saturday. And there were no seats, basically. It was just incredible. They don't realize what they have created, basically. Don't think they do. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you've built up this network. You're incredibly involved in the community, obviously. So to switch topics a little bit. You have your YouTube channel. You cover a lot of Tomb Raider stuff on there, but you also dive into a multitude of topics. I know most recently you covered Pride as well as like corporate rainbow washing. In what ways do you think corporations can be doing more during Pride Month and throughout the year?
I'm very sorry. I forgot the name of your first guest.
Elsa.
That was Elsa.
Elsa, yes.
Elsa
Elsa. So she... What 2K done, because I don't follow them too much, but I really want to play Quarry, so I will be. And now I definitely will be after what she said they're doing. That was incredible, what I heard. I actually didn't think that this actually could happen, because like I look at Twitch, and I know we're streaming on it right now. I was very disappointed for the past 2 years, because that's when I actually started streaming like a year and a half ago. So this is when I started following, and I was like, yeah, that's not great, So what they could do more is they should do these like in my video. I actually engage with their fans in that sense. Why don't you have one event a year, for sake? That's not going to cost you much. It probably costs more to do that rainbow logo, designers and such. Just get your LGBT fans together. Yeah, you probably can't get them all, but have some local event to your studio. If you're based, like, say, if you are Team 17, do it in Manchester. I'm sure they do that, by the way. Team 17 is great. I'm not putting on them or anything. I know they will do something there, but say, because they're based in Manchester, I'm just putting them as an example. We'll have a gathering, where they play board games, or even their game Worms, that kind of stuff with their fans, or have a tour of the studio just to show you actually care in that sense. They don't seem to do that. They just say, oh yes, we have our CEO, whatever, is bisexual, and they just spotlight of that, and they just talk about how diversity is important, but it's all the cis white men talking about diversity. I don't care about that. Your salary is probably 2,100, whatever, 200,000 pounds a year. And I really don't feel like I can relate to you. Gay people tend to earn less, and they
Mm.
tend to be less active. Mia, hello, and stuff like that. Tend to get involved and drink more, and that's not just me saying it, actually. It's again in that video I actually put references to that. I done some research on this, and and you just don't show the appreciation that we used your games as escapism, like I did, like
Me too.
to get
Yeah.
away. It's really, really sad. But 2K, I have no complaints there. Actually, very impressed. I'm actually very happy with what they do.
It's nice to know that sometimes these things go on, and I feel like that does set a standard. Like some of the companies that we've actually talked to who have actually sponsored DigiPride have literally been telling us about the things that they've been doing, and I think if they just cross-reference all the stuff that they've been doing together, it would be
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. Honestly.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of why we do what we do here at Gaming, sort of 365 days a year, but specifically for 3 months every year with DigiPride. It's a way of kind of bringing together these companies that want to do more than just slap a rainbow logo on, or as you say, profile their CEO and how he went to a gay bar or something. And it's kind of that.
Yeah.
It's for us, it's kind of like being able to kind of really work with those studios, work with those companies, Xbox, 2K, etc. Much love to obviously all our
just show
sponsors.
us you care, really. Just like
That's it, exactly. And
no
I
one
think
cares about, like.
you're absolutely right. And I think whether it's physically going to the studio or physically engaging with the fans, or doing it sort of digitally via Gaming Magazine and with the likes of Devolver and Wizards of the Coast and Arcade Spirits and all those sort of wonderful people that have supported us this year and Sega in previous years, there's the love out there is doing more than just, as you say, and extending it beyond June.
Yeah.
That's always the
Well,
big
I mean,
thing, isn't it?
all these companies will have a community managers. I can guarantee you the community manager will have a list of LGBT streamers or whatever that they engage with, or like active members of the community who organize events or stuff like that. Why don't you go to them and say, look, we can book you a venue and stuff, like, you can do it to me, I'm not gonna charge you anything. Just give me a budget and I will make it happen where you want it to happen. I'd done it before, as Play Expo I organized Play Expo from my balcony in Green Quarter on the 8th floor. I was chilling in a hammock and in springtime, and I was just emailing people saying, hi, do you want to come to our event? Stuff like that. So it doesn't take much, and I had no budget for that. And all these companies, they have these millions literally sat there.
They do. Yeah.
It's a free promo. Come on.
That is one thing I actually noticed as well, because I contacted a fair few people, like community managers and stuff, just before Pride, because it occurred to me that I was constantly sick of seeing so many companies that are reaching out, constantly saying the same thing as like, we'd love you to stream like one of our titles and raise money for charity. Like just to have a queer labor raising money for queer sources by taking queer money from queer people to give back to queer charities. And it's like, that doesn't actually help as much as you think it does. And one of the things I wanted to get across to them was like, you should be paying queer creators to do stuff for you. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be charity stuff, but if it's Pride Month and you really want to go back to bat for the community, actually like give people opportunities in the queer community. Pay them, maybe get some kind of cool artwork or something commissioned around your games or something, but like make sure it's a queer creator doing it. So you're actually putting money back into the queer community, because it's something that we really need. Like you said, we don't earn as much as everybody else. We need that support. So
with the Twitch in particular, LGBT Twitch streamers, I find it very difficult to grow my channel. Doesn't matter what kind of background I know. At first I thought, maybe I'm just a bit of an asshole on my stream and I'm not funny. But you know what? I'm not. I know I'm not. I actually watched some of my streams back. I was like, I actually enjoy it. It's just the fact that you are LGBT. Some people just don't want to watch you.
Well, it's that plus discovery on Twitch is awful. It's the hate rates and the fact that like they don't have any real form of discovery on the platform. So those people who are going to rise to the top are going to be the people with the broad appeal, the broad appeal, because like the most people watching Twitch are going to be, gamers and guys and cis and of a certain like demographic. So it's really, the earnest is on Twitch to actually fix their discoverability problem and put queer people in the spotlight more
and
often.
fix the
you know?
hate trades, that should
Yeah.
definitely be happening. Just put the AI bot analyzing everything what's happening. There should be a pattern clearly that some person just registered and there's like 20 of them going to come on. It's so easy, but there will be some hiccups and stuff like that, but it's just scary, man. I mean, it's you have the hate rates to consider. You have the multiplayer games that everyone plays, like Dead by Daylight. I am panicking to play that because if I play it with strangers and on voice chat, I will say something and they're like, "Oh, queer," that kind of stuff. I don't want to hear that. I already have anxiety as it is. I grew up in a place where I could be killed basically for being gay. All that, if you consider all that, like stress of hate rates, bad discovery, multiplayer games issues, naturally you don't grow your channel fast enough as anyone else would be. And for Twitch, actually, for the Pride Month, just selecting their already partners that already well established to showcase them. Hey, we have these people. It's just such a cock slap. I'm sorry for the words, like that. But it just really is. You're literally not caring at all. You just again, rainbow washing pretty much. I know they sponsored awards in the past, but I think it's just the corporate level of rainbow washing in that sense. I'm just really disappointed, really.
There definitely needs to be more work at various levels within the corporation, to be fair. I found like a lot of companies that I've reached out to were like, we'd love to do something, but like the community managers just don't have like a budget for it. I think that's like the biggest thing that we need to like put across to them next year is like, you need a budget for this.
Prepare
It's
your
important.
budgets.
Yeah,
And do some
prepare your
research
budgets.
as well.
Show me the
actually,
cash.
I think doing the research is important. And I actually mean that in a constructive way, because I think some of the bits you both have been talking about there, about kind of like the same faces, the similar people, it's the loudest people as well. And I think it's the people that you feature on one stream, you've probably featured on a lot of streams. And that's an element of, I don't want to use the word laziness because
I was just about to say.
No, I think it possibly reflects slightly unfairly on those people in those roles that have 101 other things they get dumped to do as well. But if with short notice the community manager has been told, like, we want to do an LGBT thing, can you just pull in a few queer streamers and we'll do this thing for Pride? With limited budget, with limited time, they're just going to turn on Twitch and you can pick off the top 5 and off you go, sort of thing.
It's like that for a lot of companies though. Like a lot of companies only have like 1 or 2 people that they put on like working on Pride Month, and they're expected to do everything with no budget. It's ridiculous. Like,
whereas I think if you dig further down, and that's what I'm really actually quite proud of from this year's awards, by celebrating our rising stars, for example, and then building on top of that with our new gaming ambassadorships. The group of people that we kind of curated, yes, it has some of the big names in it, but actually it has a lot of the kind of the micro names that are very up and coming and really starting to change things and are more diverse. And I think that for me is kind of like how we really kind of change this as well, is that we really kind of need to push forward this whole stop relying on the similar kind of handful of people, do some research, come to us, come to Game Magazine. We can advise on this thing, on these sort of things.
One of the issues
it's
as well is
every
like,
bloody June, you can't plan in advance. It doesn't like it just
coming.
happens.
It's coming.
it shouldn't be just June. They should be doing it throughout the year. That's the thing. If they did it throughout the year, it wouldn't be an issue. But it's because Pride Month is Pride Month. They're gonna do it then. So yeah.
One last thing for me then, Ash. So Tomb Raider related or otherwise. What projects have you got coming up? We obviously spoke about all the Derby stuff. So is there anything else alongside all of that?
Don't think so. Actually, that's a good question. I definitely want to go back.
Is there anything you'd like
Twitch.
to work on?
Yeah, I definitely want to go back into Twitch streaming because I actually stopped in February when the invasion to Ukraine happened, and our artist for the Dark Angel Symphony is in Ukraine, whilst our graphic designer is in Russia. So one of them is risking to be arrested for protesting, another one is being bombed, pretty much. She lives by that nuclear station that they occupied.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so she designed my tattoo scene. And, I just was... sorry, my LA is having I will show her. She's jealous when I talk on camera. I'll show you in a minute. So, because of in February, I kind of stopped streaming for quite a while, and I was volunteering in like local Ukrainian culture center where they needed people to just sort out all this humanitarian aid in different boxes. Pulled my bag there, all that stuff. I actually volunteer as an interpreter as well for Ukrainian refugees in UK. So and also equally, I was diagnosed with ADHD at that period, and this is when I started taking pills to treat that. And then I realized, my God, my house is falling apart. I need to do all these DIY things and all that. So kind of Twitch went onto the back end of things to do. And I kind of want to go back into it very soon, because I did create, as you said, the room is quite interactive. Like when you follow, everything kind of flashes, it's all interactive. People can change lights. I like the interactivity of things. And equally for me, the person with massive anxiety and panic attack problem during pandemic, this was incredible because I could actually speak to people in the way there's chat, I suppose. But yeah, so Twitch is definitely I want to go back into at some point very soon. Other than that, I don't think there is. Cycling, definitely want to go back into it. I was a bit lazy for the past couple of months. I built a new e-bike, which is incredible, but I haven't done much of cycling. It's just because, you finish your work at 5 p.m., even though you work from home. You kind of, I wanted to do all these things. And then you kind of realize, oh shit, actually it's 10. I don't really want to cycle anymore. So yeah, that kind of stuff.
It's the middle of the night. You can't cycle now.
You could, but it's probably not safe.
Yeah, not quite. Right. Well, it's been absolutely lovely to getting to know you more, but we're going to do a little thing right now, which we always like to finish with, to get to know you even better. It's what we like to call quick fire questions. So this is going to be stream of consciousness. You just tell us whatever comes to mind, and Robin's going to start us off.
Yes, I am. So what's been your favorite game this year?
Ooh, difficult one. I didn't play many of the new titles. I bought them, but I never played them.
Listen, whatever you did play.
Will be Uncharted 4. I want the Tomb Raider fans to disown me completely.
Okay. What was the one game that defined your childhood? I feel like you're going to say Tomb Raider.
Well, Sims. I like Sims.
Sims.
Oh,
okay.
Okay, cool. That's good. I can see where the next one's going as well. Who's your favorite video game character?
Well, I'm gonna say Claire Redfield because I played Resident Evil way before I played Tomb Raider. So Claire Redfield.
Okay.
Very good.
Oh yeah. What is the game that you most want a sequel to?
It will be any Resident Evil. After 4, the 5 kind of stuff, but not with the one that made the Resident Evil 5. Basically, classic Resident Evil game I want to play.
Yeah.
Remake or
cool.
what else?
Who would be your... No, this person can be dead, alive, famous, not famous. Who would be your dream stream guest?
Ooh, I would love to have Mila Jovovich on the stream, just because I know that she speaks Russian, and it will be hilarious because sometimes she gets words wrong. And I could also show off my Fifth Element tattoo to her, which
Nice.
Nice.
And compete with her the pronunciation of the Fifth Element character. Because I know to pronounce it. I wonder if she still remembers. So yeah, Mila Jovovich.
Yeah. I'm like I don't think I would be able to stop myself from just going multipass and just.
That's a short name.
Okay, what game are you most looking forward to coming out? Like in the next year?
Well, hopefully it will be the new Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Okay.
I did play the latest Vampire the Masquerade, and I had to ask for refund. It's so derpy. The animation is just unsettling. The people say there was not enough budget, but it's exclusive to Epic Games. There is budget for that. I'm sorry. If you're freezing it as exclusive for Epic, you got millions. So,
exactly. No. If you were marooned on an island, it's a very high-tech island, but you can't call for help. But if you were marooned on an island, what 3 games would you want to have with you?
They can have online play.
Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
It will be Ark because you can actually play single player on that. And it would be Tomb Raider 4, The Last Relation. Yeah, all 3.
Okay. Which game has the best soundtrack?
Tomb Raider: The Angel of Darkness, performed by the London Symphonic Orchestra. I have the actual sheet music in there. Peter gave it to me as a gift. It's incredible. Yeah,
I love
Tomb Raider:
it.
The Angel of Darkness.
If Tomb Raider didn't exist, what game would you be playing?
Resident Evil. I still am playing that. So
Very good.
I don't particularly like the newer ones as much, but I do like the remake ones they made.
Are you looking forward to the remake of Resident Evil 4? Even though it wasn't necessary, but
Kinda. I didn't like Resident Evil 4 that much, but I'll play it. I mean, yeah. I didn't like Resident Evil 3 either because I wasn't a big fan of Resident Evil 3. I played Resident Evil 2, the original, so many times. Even modern day, like I still replay it every now and then.
It's very good. It's very good. All right, last question, and feel free to take your time on this one. But where can people find your content, and what have you got coming up on your channel?
Well, they can follow me on Twitch. They can also find all my content at. I'm gonna put you the link in the private chat.
Yeah.
Just because you do not like links. There is also a. Hold on, I need to get the link. And I'm wearing contact lenses which are falling out of my eye socket, so it's not very easy to
I love it when that happens. It's amazing when that happens. Like contact lenses in general, absolutely awful.
For audio only listeners, I'm going to translate this one. So it's tomb-of-ash.com, TOMB of ash.com with dashes in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah, and there is this final link I'm going to drop in, I promise. There you go. But Tomb of Ash will have all the stuff on it, including the developer files from Tomb Raider games that are preserved. That's my thing that I do. I preserve Tomb Raider content. Developers obviously send it to me anonymously. I put on the encryption system just so they could like transfer securely. And yeah, it's quite interesting to see what they send. Sometimes they send like photos of like in British Museum where they took photos of like artifact, and then you see it as a texture in the game, that kind of stuff. So we have all that in there. There's literally terabytes of stuff.
That's amazing.
Including uncompressed like audio and music from it. So enjoy.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Well, if you want to check that out, chat, you can definitely go and have a look at all of those links in chat. There is a link tree link as well, which is literally just Ash Kaprielov. Did I get it right that time? Damn, no. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's
correct. Yeah, it's right. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
linktr.ee/ASH_KAPRIELOV will get you all of that good info. Yes. So, Robin and Ash, thank you so much for joining me today. And a shout out to Elsa from 2K who joined us earlier too. But this has been a lot of fun. And a cute doggo!
And a dog to finish.
The audio listeners are missing out. They're missing out. Yes. I hope it was fun for you. I hope you had a good time.
Thank you for inviting me.
No problemo. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody, on this episode of the Gayming Podcast Live. We will be back in 2 weeks' time with another episode and some more wonderful, wonderful guests.
Absolutely. And you can follow the Gayming Mag channel here on Twitch or subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of these amazing shows. And of course, if you're listening to, all our podcasts could be listened back at any time, and you can find them on all major podcast platforms. If you're listening there now, come on over to Twitch and watch us live. So we're on Twitch, we're on podcasts, live or audio. We are here for you. Just head on over to twitch.tv/gaminmag or find us on any major podcasting platform.
Heck yes. So we have got Let's Go Gaming coming up on Wednesday. And don't forget, there is the Queer Game Makers panel coming up on Tuesday. So stick around for that. I hope you'll be back then. But in the meantime, don't forget to keep reading Gaming Magazine, watching all the gaming shows, doing all the gaming stuff, and being, the best that you can be. All right. We'll see you all soon. And bye for now.
Take care.
Bye, everybody. Bye.